Greetings and welcome back to Bible Talks with Belinda. Today I'm going to share a dream with you all that I had about a housing market crash that I believe that is coming. I actually had this dream in May of 2024. I wrote it down in my journal dream book, and I was flipping through the pages the other day about 2 weeks ago, and um I had forgot about the dream, but as soon as I read the dream, the dream flooded back to me in full, vivid form. And so I'm going to share that with you today. Now, the day that I'm recording this dream is July 3rd, 2025. There has been a slight decline in houses in pockets of the nation, where you saw houses that were, severely overflated. But you also have a lot of pockets in the nation that are housing is doing very well, it's stable, and even in some areas, people are still seeing they're seeing multiple offers. This dream is regarding a housing market crash that will be undeniable, impacting the whole entire nation. And it's going to be like an '08 type crash. It's not going to be, no denying that this has happened. All right. So I'm going to walk you all through the dream that I had. Now you got to stick you got to stick with me through the whole entire dream, because at the end I'm going to tell you what my interpretation of the dream is. All right. So in this dream, I am some type of house cleaner. I think it felt like I was, kind of doing it, as a side hustle or part time, because I was at the gym and I left the gym, and then when I left the gym, I said, you know what, I have time to stop by and clean this house before I go to my next gym session. For some reason, I was going to the gym a lot. All right. So the house that you see in the house setting that you see here is similar to the house that I cleaned. The house was a little bit smaller, more like a middle class type, house. It was a little bit smaller than this, but it was kind of perched up on a hill. And so I go in, I clean the house, and then the next scene, I'm standing outside of the house and I'm looking back at the house, and I'm trying to remember if I cleaned the baseboards or not. So I'm like, "Ugh, did I clean the baseboards? Do I need to go back in and check? Because I can't remember if I cleaned the baseboards or not." I know that sounds odd, but there's a significance to that. So as I'm trying to make up my mind to go back inside the house, water from the ground starts to rise. This dirty, murky looking water starts to rise. And I'm like, I can't go back inside. I have to leave. So I got in my car, and I put the car in reverse to get out of there because the water was rising fast. All right, so the next scene in the dream cuts to me in the car, and I am frantic. I'm hysterical because I'm in this residential. I'm speeding in reverse in this residential neighborhood down a very steep hill, and my brakes have failed. And my only guide that I can go by to keep from crashing into mailboxes. I'm trying to avoid crashing into mailboxes and turns. I'm looking at my backup camera on my dashboard, but it's going in and out. It's blacking. It's blacking in and out. The screen is black, and then it flickers back. It blacks, then it flickers back. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, And I'm trying to, stay and not hit anything, but my brakes do not work. So in the dream, I reached the bottom of this very steep hill that I'm on in the neighborhood. I crash into the house backwards in reverse, but I don't see the crash happening in my dreams. When I crash into the house, the next scene I see is this, you know, it kind of looked like what you're seeing on the screen now. I see this house that goes, it flies in the air fully intact. And it's like tumbling, round and around in the air. And that's all I'm seeing for the next scene. This house just tumbling around in the air. So now the next scene that pops up, I'm standing in front of two police officers, and they're asking me about the crash. And I tell them, I'm like, yeah, I'm driving, and I just recap the whole scenario. I put the car in reverse, and I'm, driving down this hill. My brakes fail, and then I crash into the house. So one of the police officer, there's two police officers standing there, and there's some significance to this because both are holding a tablet. All right. Now, this is going to be very important because I'm going to give you the significance of this when I start explaining the interpretation of the dream. Okay, so one guy is holding a regular tablet, and like a regular police officer. He's collecting my statement. He's collecting my information, and everything. But he makes a comment. He said, oh my gosh, you've crashed into this house, but yet it's a miracle that you're standing here and you haven't been hurt. You have no bruises, you have no sustained injuries. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I know. My response to the officer, I'm like, I can't believe, like I'm fine, because apparently the crash was terrible. It was so bad where the whole house, came off the foundation and was tumbling in the air, you know. So the other guy that's standing there, he's holding a totally different tablet than the other police officer. And the tablet that he's holding has this green chart on it. It looked to me like a stock market chart. And so I'm going to share with you the revelation that I believe I got from this. The other police officer, he didn't say anything, but I was able to look. He was standing so close to me that I was able to see the his tablet, and I was able to see that he had a chart in his hand. Now that's odd, like, why would a police officer have a tablet with a stock market, with a chart with a stock market graph on it? All right, so I'm going to give you what I think the dream mean. I'm not a dream interpreter, but and I'm not a prophetess either. I'm a dreamer, all right? So, in this dream, like I said, I was cleaner. I was a cleaner, and I was doing, some type of domestic work. The house that I was cleaning, what I believe it represented is people who are preparing for something that is on the horizon, right? Because the whole when I came outside the house, I knew I had cleaned everything, but I wasn't sure if I cleaned the baseboards. Now, if people would tell you that your house is not fully clean. You're not done until the baseboards are clean. Like, it's like you're halfway done until you clean the baseboards. And it's like some people are going to be prepared, but I don't think there's a way to prepare all the way for what's coming. I hope that makes sense. Like, you're going to do what all that you can with the knowledge that you know of something on the horizon that's coming, but you're not going to be able to be perfect for when this happens. And so the when I was standing outside, the water started to rise, and this water was murky. Now, I follow another lady on YouTube. She's a dreamer, and she also has the ability to interpret dreams. And like I said, I had this dream a year ago, and I was recently watching her, and she said every time she had a dream about water rising or flooding, it always represents a economic financial turbulence that's coming. So, like I said, the cleaning of the house represented being prepared for something that's coming. The water, when I got out to my car, there was no water, but it started to rise. So the water rising that you see in the picture, it got up to like my ankles, and that's when I was like, when it got up to the threshold of the door, it was like I gotta go, I gotta get out of here before my car gets flooded. And so that represented a financial turbulence that's coming, and it may have started last year when I had the dream. Like it had started to rise, the financial flood or whatever that's coming. This house, you can see, I was looking at the house. The house was kind of perched up on a high embankment. So you can imagine how high that financial flood would have to come. And it probably will only get, ooh, that was just a revelation right there. If the water does rise high enough, it may only flood and reach the baseboards of the house. So that water may rise, the financial, which is a representation of a financial crisis, and it may hit the baseboards, but it won't flood the entire house because of the elevation of the house. So, like I said, I was wondering if I had cleaned the baseboards or not. All right. So the next scene, I told you all about. I'm driving down this very steep and I'm driving in reverse down this very steep road in reverse. The brakes are out. I don't have any control, and I think this represents the acceleration from when I was standing on top of the looking at the house to where I'm going backwards. I think this thing accelerated. It was so fast to where it was uncontrollable. It was out of control. There were no brakes. There was no stopping what was getting ready to happen. All right. It's like all options. Either you were prepared or you wasn't prepared for what was coming. And I was in the car and I was driving, and I couldn't, the only screen, I had a very small screen that on my dashboard that I was looking at to try and navigate the roads. All right. So when this happens, you're not going to have any control over what happens. All right. But keep in mind, when I after I crashed into the house, now I was outside talking to the police officers. Um, I think the police officers represented authority and maybe safety. It's some significance to the police officers. I don't fully know. But you know, the one police officer that took my statement, he made a statement that it was really a miracle how I crashed into this house. However, I didn't sustain any injuries. Right. So I think in this dream, I represented the the people of God that are not going to be impacted by this housing crash. I had another dream that I shared on my page to where it was called the my part one Bitcoin crash dream, and I had a very similar revelation in that dream that whenever this crash happens, economic crash happens, that for some reason, or well, I know it's the Lord, he will spare the people of God, the people that are in him, that are listening to him, to how to move. All right, but I'm gonna continue on. So this police officer, he said it's a miracle that you were not harmed by this housing market. I mean, by this by the crash, you crashing into this house, you were not harmed. Now, keep in mind, the other police officer was holding a tablet, and it had a stock market chart on it. And it took me a while to realize what I believe the revelation of him holding. He was standing very close to me, and I can see the stock market chart, and it was green. What I think this means is that the stock market, I've had dreams about the stock market and the crypto market crashing, but I don't think the housing market is going to crash at the same time the stock market and the crypto market crash. These will be separate incidents because on the chart, the charts were green. So it wasn't like nothing was in the red. I knew I was looking at a stock market chart, but I had crashed into the house. So I think there's going to be some type of delay when this economic crisis happens. I don't know how far along the delay is, so maybe the stock market crash, Bitcoin, crypto crash is next, and then there's a delay with the housing market crash. That's the only revelation that I got from it. Like I said, I'm not a dream interpreter, so if you have, if you do interpret dreams, I'm open to what other people may think of this dream as well. All right. All right. So the scene of the housing crash, the housing being fully intact, I think this represents, and I'm not sure, the impact will be severe, but I don't think it's going to be enough to. I think it's going to be able to bounce back. With the house, I crashed into the house now. However, the house was fully intact when I saw it tumbling in the air. So it's almost to me like it'll be fast. It'll be the crash will be severe. However, it will be able to bounce back quickly because the house was still intact. It wasn't like in shambles, crumbled to the ground, to where you have to completely rebuild a whole housing, um a house from the ground up. I hope that makes sense. So it's the difference between having a tornado to come through and completely destroy a home where you have to rebuild it from ground up, to versus where strong winds come in, the house is still fully intact, and you can go back and maybe have to repair a few shingles and some siding or something, and now you're good to go, right? So after I woke up, the first thing that I said was, housing market crash. That's how I knew this dream was about a housing market crash, because if you've ever I don't know, I've taken like some study, because I'm a dreamer. I have listened to older people who are actually interpreters of dreams, and one of the things they tell you is, what is the first thought that comes to mind when you wake up? And the first thing that came to mind was housing market crash. And so I wrote that down as the title of the dream. So I'm in Ecclesiastics chapter 11, and this dream put me in mind when I was talking about I don't believe that the housing market is going to crash the same time that the crypto or the stock market crashes. I think there's going to be some sort of delay. That's kind of what I got from the dream. So it reminded me of this Bible verse, Ecclesiastes 11, the value of diligence. It says, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. Give a serving to seven, and also to eight, for you do not know what evil will be on the earth. If the clouds are full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth. And if a tree falls to the south or the north, in the place where the tree falls, there it shall lie. He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. As you do not know what is in the way of the wind, or how the bones grow in the womb of her who is with child, so you do not know the works of God who makes everything. In the morning sow your seed, and in the evening do not withhold your hand, for you do not know which will prosper, either this or that, or whether both alike will be good." All right, so I wanted to share that Bible verse with you, those Bible verses with you, because, like I said, it reminded me of the dream, because you don't know. We know that there's coming. Well, if you don't know, now you know, there's coming economic calamity. I don't know to when, I don't know to what degree. I don't know in what order it will be in. I shared on this page several times, the whole reason why I started my channel is to warn the people of a famine that's coming. Over time, I've had dreams about economic calamity that's coming and how to prepare. Um, but the thing is, all of these things will not happen at the same time. While one is failing, and that's what this Bible, this chapter is about. Diversify, pray to God, ask God how to lead you, how to diversify if you can, what you can. Um, in the markets as far as investment. And I've even had videos where the Lord told me, like, even if you don't have funding, if you don't have money, diversify your skill set, learn some new skills, because you don't know what you will be able to barter for in the future. You may have a set of skills that nobody else has, and if you know how to do plumbing, if you know how to do electrical work, if you know how to do this, somebody may have some, be desperate need for something. You may be able to barter for something in the future that you don't know, because we don't know in what kind of economic climate that I've had in my dreams that I can see coming. You want to be able to diversify in different assets and skill set. You need to have a skill set. All right. So I'm going to leave that here. Go back and check out my videos about the wealth transfer, because there's a lot of information in that. Highly recommend people watch the Bible studies as well. So I'm just going to end the video here, let you know that if you have not given your life to Jesus Christ, I strongly advise you to do so. We are coming into a time where you will need the Lord. We may be in an economic situation where you see all the markets shoot up, and it's going to people are not going to be in the frame of mind that something on the horizon is coming, and a lot of people can't see it. The only way that I've been able to even pick it up in the spirit realm is by submitting to the Holy Spirit, asking the Lord for guidance, asking the Lord for revelation as He shows it to me. All right. And being obedient by coming on here and sharing it with you all. All right. You guys have a great day.